All right, let's dive in. Today, we are tackling the wild, weird, and wonderful world of crypto. We're going to try and make sense of it all by walking through Matt Levine's fantastic piece from Bloomberg Businessweek, using its own visuals to guide us. Okay, so let's start with a really basic but kind of profound idea. Almost everything that defines our lives, the money you have, the house you own, it's not really a physical thing. It's just an entry in a database somewhere. It's a line of code on a ledger, and the whole system only works because we trust the people who manage that ledger. And that one simple question right there, that's it. That's the launchpad for the entire crypto universe. It's all about what happens when you decide to rethink that fundamental system from scratch. So if you're going to update the system, what's the big idea? Well, it's this. What if, instead of all these separate databases run by banks and governments, we just had one single shared database? One that no single person or company could control, because, well, everyone runs it together.
But before we get into building the new thing, we've got to really wrap our heads around the old system, this world built on gatekeepers that we have to trust.
I mean, really think about it. Your bank balance is just a number in their computer. You owning your home is just a line in a government file. And these are all separate, often really clunky old systems that don't talk to each other. And it all hinges on us just trusting those institutions. So that's the problem. And that brings us to the very first major invention that tried to solve this whole trust thing: Bitcoin, and its radical idea of a shared public ledger. The technology that supposedly makes this all work is the blockchain. So what the heck is a blockchain? Well, the simplest way to think about it is it's a public record book, a shared database that everyone can see and check, which makes it basically impossible for any one person to go in and secretly change something. So here's the crucial switcheroo. Bitcoin's big idea is to replace your trust in a single institution, like a bank, with trust in a system that's designed to get thousands and thousands of anonymous strangers to all agree with each other. Okay, but hold on. That's the big question, right? If nobody's in charge and everybody's a stranger, how do you stop it from just being total chaos? How in the world do you get thousands of people who don't know or trust each other to agree on anything, let alone the true state of a global financial system? Well, the process that makes it all work is called mining, and it is famously, almost comically, wasteful and energy intensive. And Matt Levine, he just nails the absurdity of it with one of the greatest analogies ever. He says to imagine if keeping your car idling 24/7 produced solved Sudoku puzzles that you could then trade for. Yep, heroin. That incredibly strange, competitive puzzle solving is what verifies all the transactions and locks them into the blockchain. The system is deliberately incredibly wasteful by design. It makes it so expensive and difficult to cheat that it's just not worth it. And for all that work, the miners get rewarded with brand new Bitcoin. All right, so that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. But the story, oh man, it does not stop there. The next big step in this evolution took that idea of a shared ledger and cranked it up into something way, way more powerful. And this is where things get really interesting. You've got to understand this key difference. If Bitcoin is like a giant shared calculator that's really, really good at one thing, keeping track of who has what, then Ethereum is like a giant shared computer. It's a platform that anyone, anywhere in the world can use to build and run their own applications. And this programmability is what makes something called smart contracts possible. Honestly, the best way to think about them, seriously, just picture a vending machine. It's a totally automated, unstoppable agreement. You put the right thing in, your money, and a specific guaranteed thing comes out. No person in the middle, no company, just pure code doing its job. So let's think about this. You've got programmable money, and you've got these unstoppable contracts. What's the very first thing you're going to try to build? Come on, it's obvious, right? The entire financial system, just this time with no banks. And this image, it just lays it all out, the two different worlds we're talking about. On one side, you have the old way, traditional banking, built on buildings and people and rules and regulations. And on the other, you have decentralized finance, or DeFi, which wants to replace all of that with transparent, automated code. So the big promise of DeFi, the dream, is huge. The idea is to build a whole new financial system from the ground up that's open to everybody, that runs automatically through smart contracts, and is completely transparent. because you can see it all happening on the blockchain. But that promise, man, it comes with some absolutely insane risks. The collapse of Terra and Luna is just the perfect, terrifying example. You had this thing called Terra, an algorithmic stablecoin that was supposed to always be worth exactly $1. But a tiny flaw in its super complex code created what's called a death spiral. It completely fell apart and vaporized billions and billions of dollars in just a few days. It showed just how fragile these new systems can be. After all of this, the mind-bending complexity, the incredible highs, the devastating lows, it is totally fair to step back and just ask the big question. What is the point of all this? What is it all for? One of the best ways to think about it is this. Crypto is basically a giant, global, real-time laboratory. It's an experiment in rebuilding finance from the very beginning. It's a place to try out crazy new ideas, but as we've seen, it's also a place to rediscover all the old mistakes in brand new, spectacular ways. And maybe that's the greatest irony in all of this. By trying so hard to build a trustless system, one that doesn't rely on people or institutions, crypto has accidentally done an amazing job of showing us just how much our normal world runs on trust, and just how incredibly valuable that trust really is. And Levine makes this brilliant point about a fascinating cycle. Crypto is constantly reinventing things that traditional finance figured out centuries ago. Sometimes it actually stumbles on a genuinely new and better way to do it. And other times, it just rediscovers old problems the hard way. And that leaves us with this one last kind of provocative thought to chew on. As this huge, chaotic, and totally fascinating experiment keeps going, are we watching the birth of a truly new financial system? Or is it just a funhouse mirror, reflecting back a faster, weirder, and way more distorted version of the one we already have?